How many times can a person get tugged? Well, we have found the limit at extratug.com, where you can see exclusive content that I say dirty things in. Go check it out. A long time ago, a woman at a state fair who was doing fortune telling told me that I was going to die of heart disease, which is a pretty easy guess to make. I think most Americans die like that, but it would be very funny if I died during the recording of this video while I'm talking about energy drinks. If that happens, I don't know, tell people about me. So caffeine is one drug that we can all agree on, right? We're all cool here, right? 90% of Americans have some form of caffeine every single day, whether that be a cup of coffee or a caffeine pill or a cup of coffee, but instead this time it's going up your butt. For most of the 20th century, actually, coffee was our go-to jittery juice. When I think of someone sipping on a hot cup of joe, I usually think about like long-haul truckers, exhausted educators talking shit about their students in the teacher's lounge, and NASA scientists in short-sleeve shirts and long ties and glasses, smoking cigarettes and being racist and misogynist. I only know about NASA scientists from like period piece movies. But at the dawn of a new millennium, a new fatigue fighter entered that arena, and that fighter was brightly labeled, extremely advertised energy drinks. These drinks aren't something you sip at your cubicle while looking over some goddamn spreadsheets. These are the kind of drinks you crush on your forehead before you pick up your skateboard and you go out and you do some cool skateboard tricks with your hood rat friends. I don't know anything about skating, but that seems pretty par for the course. The Western world is always getting more extreme. Everyone wants the most of everything, which is why you can't find normal Tylenol anymore. Seriously, it's all extra strength, which is kind of ruining the whole point of extra strength. But that mentality is also present in our ever-churning need to want bigger and bolder delivery systems for caffeine. But just how insane will energy drinks get? Well, hopefully not as insane as their beginnings. Flashback. Chris, do a flashback at it, please. In 1886, Atlanta chemist Dr. John Pemberton was working on a tonic for heartburn and nausea. And this was the 1800s, so the answer to such an issue was, of course, a ton of sugar in a carbonated beverage. And while Mr. Pemberton was fiddling around with the formula, he accidentally stumbled his way into inventing Coca-Cola. Of course, this predates the term energy drink by about an entire century, but there was no denying the energizing effects of this new-fangled beverage. Listen, I'm not going to dwell on the fact that Coca-Cola originally had cocaine in it. Every toddler knows that fact, but it's worth mentioning. Originally, Coca-Cola contained cola nuts, which are jam-packed with caffeine, as well as coca leaves, which are cocaine. That's how you make cocaine. But at the time, like, people talk like it's a big deal. At the time, Coke was easy. You could get Coke. Cocaine was easy to get. It was a vitamin back then. Like Sigmund Freud, everyone who walked into his office, he was just like, do cocaine. It'll make you feel better. Do cocaine. You could get yourself a steady supply by going down to like the local drugstore and just picking it up over the counter. No one was regulating this shit. But as the ill effects of the drug became better understood, regulation and eventually criminalization occurred because Uncle Sam is a narc. As early as 1903, Coca-Cola contained trace amounts of cocaine, and by 1929, Coca-Cola was fully cocaine-free. But I would love to try a Coca-Cola beverage between the years of 1903 and 1929 because I just like a little trace of that energizing buzz of cocaine. You know, just a little bit, just everything in moderation. But when God opens a door, he closes a window. I didn't say that right. Just after 1 year after Pemberton's hit of Coca-Cola, Lazar Adelano, I think that's how you pronounce it, a Romanian chemist, first synthesized amphetamines. You know, speed, that shit. And I didn't know the history of amphetamines, but if I had to guess someone were to invent it, it would be someone with this name, because that name is insane. It's getting late. I shouldn't be drinking this. But Lazar wasn't that interested in his discovery of getting people tweaking like a motherfucker, and the concept of amphetamines was shelved for nearly 40 years. But in 1932, amphetamines were suddenly cool all of a sudden, because this is when Benzedrine inhalers were introduced as a nasal decongestant. And this was coincidentally around the same time, cocaine was banned. So, you know, it seems like, I don't know, everyone's trying to get high all the time. Surely we'll get a grasp on that horrible concept at one point in human history, correct? So when you think of inhalers, you're thinking of a chubby little kid with asthma, but that's not what this is. These were practically just cotton swabs just dripping with amphetamine liquid. And I think it should come as no surprise that people liked them, people loved them. People loved their amphetamine cotton. Benzedrine inhalers were available over the counter without a prescription, so they were super easy to abuse. Not only that, but Benzedrine salts found their way into medications for, you know, depression and weight loss, and it's hard to be fat and sad when you're practically taking the jet drug from Fallout. It was even widely administered to American soldiers during World War II, because if you need a soldier to run fast and aim well, you give him crank. By the time the war was over, it was estimated that 16 million Americans have been exposed to Benzedrine pills. But this normalized Americans' obsession with, amphetamines, but also just getting a quick hit of energy throughout the day. And before we judge the old Americans for their amphetamine obsessions, how many of you are on Adderall right now? Ritalin, Vyvanse. Judge lest ye be judged, you speed addicts. Chris, if you could put up a statement on the screen right now, Tug supports all form of mental health medication and treatment. But don't Don't put me saying that in there. Just put it on the screen. The amphetamine epidemic wasn't just a problem in America either. Japanese soldiers had been giving methamphetamines during the war, and the country faced its own post-war drug epidemic. In the 50s, the country passed a series of laws to curb drug use, and in the wake of these laws, the first modern energy drink was born. And I'm a little worried because I had to talk about a lot of drugs to get to the main focus of this video. I don't think YouTube likes that. Every time I do that, I get demonetized. So subscribe to Extra Talk, please. But now that we're talking about energy drinks, do you know what the first energy drink was called? Do you have any concept? You're probably thinking something sexy like Fast Horse or Blazing Sun or some shit. Well, no, actually, it was called Lipovitamin D. Lipovitamin D. That's actually not that fun. And it actually wasn't really a drink. It was more of like a tonic syrup thing than a soda. So it was like lean, but it had the opposite effect of lean. Lipovitamin D was marketed to truck drivers and factory workers who pulled long shifts and needed a little extra something so that they wouldn't go the Hemingway. The main ingredient in this sweet, sweet syrup beverage is an amino acid called taurine, which, let me be honest, I love taurine. Oh my god. You probably can't zoom in far enough to see it, Chris, but it says taurine right here. If I'm looking at an energy drink in a store and it doesn't say taurine, I'm not buying it. This is like a miracle drug. Originally isolated from bull semen in 1827. What? What did that say? Taurine is now synthetically produced. Oh, okay. All right. Oh god, that was a close one. And some studies suggest it helps with athletic performance and overall energy. So bull nut or not, if this works. And although other energy beverages have outpaced the original, you can still buy some Liptovan. The biggest bottle of Lipovitamin D contains up to 300 milligrams of taurine, along with a warning label stating that people should not consume more than 100 milligrams a day. But hey, if that's the case, why would you give me all of it at once? I'm a dumb American, I'm gonna drink that all right now. Moving forward, in 1976, a pharmacist called, I'm not even gonna try that one, created a new energy drink with caffeine, taurine, and B vitamins. He called it this. Krutting-dang, which loosely translates to Red Bull. That's right, this shit isn't European at all. It comes from Asia. F you, Max Verstappen, and your European mentality. We're pissing in the ground. The toilets are built into the ground in Asia. But this version is, it's not the exact same thing as modern Red Bull. It really, the original one didn't have any carbonation, so it was just like a flat drink. Oh my god. Over the next decade, the drink would spread across the continent, slowly becoming a fixture in Asia. And in 1984, an Australian marketing executive traveled to Bangkok and bought a bottle of Krutting-dang to fight his jet lag. And he was so impressed that he hit up the dudes whose name I couldn't pronounce and said, let's get in menu. We're getting into business right now. The white people would love this. They added some much needed carbonation along with a lot more sugar and caffeine, and then unleashed Red Bull into the European market in 1987. Doot 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 doot. Max Verstappen, doot 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 doot. I hope I'm matching the pace of the song. I can't remember the BPM. Also, I hate Max Verstappen, by the way. Don't get it twisted. If you're a Max fan and a Big Tug fan, you are just a Max fan. I don't want you here. Get the out of here. Dude cannot drive. Dude crumbles when he has pressure. I hate him. So while Red Bull was spreading its wings across Europe, America was spinning its wheels with variations of tried and true methed up soda formulas. In 1985, Jolt Cola was created with all the branding of a battery. But this was 1985. They really had for some reason they didn't know that sugar was killing them. They thought it was the fat in their food, and they kept making fat-free products that just made you shit yourself. But in terms of caffeine, Jolt definitely delivered. At 70 milligrams of caffeine per can, it contained twice as much caffeine as Coke or Pepsi. But even then, it fell short of how much caffeine was in just one cup of coffee, which is surprising. I didn't expect that. That didn't stop people from wanting it, however, because within a year, it had already reached $1 million in sales. Due to its high caffeine contents and aggressive marketing to young consumers, Jolt was often at the center of controversy and faced criticism from health advocates. And to be honest, critics were right, because it seemed like, 12-year-olds were bringing 6 packs of Jolts to sleepovers like they were bringing a 6-pack of beer to a day drink at a frat house. Ironically, Jolt, for all its flaws, was made with real sugar, while most major soda brands were using highly processed corn syrup. However, they also added something else in the Jolt soda, which wasn't good that they were doing that. The original formula also contained small amounts of lithium citrate, which is a real drug. This is the stuff doctors give people with bipolar disorders. Like, it's not really something to be around with. This obviously made critics claim that, hey, you are drugging children. Stop that. And I get that, but also, everyone, stop being a dick. Like, everyone needs some mood stabilizers every now and again, especially if you're drinking 70 milligrams of caffeine. Give the kid a little calming pill. Eventually, Jolt removed lithium from its formula, womp womp. But even though Jolt was able to deflect criticism long enough to keep their business steady, once Red Bull was introduced to America in 1997, it was pretty much lights out for Jolt, because Red Bull was flying away, no pun intended. And now we are obsessed with energy drinks. And let's just talk about America. Let's talk about America. We might act like Puritans a lot of the time, but almost every every single American is looking for a quick, cheap buzz almost all of the time. Once Red Bull gave a name to the need, we were ready to lap it up. Even though taurine started out with a bunch of scientists playing around with bull semen in a lab, which once again I was not aware of, from a non-existent market in 1997, energy drinks would top annual sales of $600 million by 2006. And they show no signs of slowing down. It is going straight up. Over the last 5 years, energy drink sales have grown by 73%, and in 2023 alone, energy drink companies have made $18.51 billion in the US. Now, are energy drinks good for you? Probably not, I would assume. I don't know. Apparently, the American Academy for Pediatrics think energy drinks are too dangerous to be consumed by teenagers, but I'm a grown man, okay? Many energy drinks contain the basic same formulas, a blend of caffeine, sugar, guarana, whatever that is, and taurine. And these are usually healthy for adults to have, in moderation, occasionally. I'm not doing that. I'm not enjoying an energy bev occasionally, I'll tell you that much. And that's the thing, energy drinks aren't about moderation, they're about defying the odds. Energy drinks are the liquid version of Tony Hawk landing that 900. You know what I'm saying? It's like whenever Doc Brown said, you can do whatever you think about. I don't remember the exact quote.
If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
That is that mentality in a liquid form. And companies understand that. So that's why they crank up the numbers and give us exactly what we want. Which apparently, according to my research, is diabetes and heart attacks. Which whatever the people want, I guess. So I have a lot of statistics here, and this is the part where I turn off the reading comprehension part of my brain so I don't have a panic attack. So I'm just gonna kind of just vocally diarrhea real quick. To begin, on average, one energy drink meets or exceeds the recommended daily intake of sugar, which is 36 grams. Not ideal. One can of Red Bull has 27 grams of sugar, Monster has 54, and Rockstar has 62. And of course, these amounts can increase the risk of obesity and type 2 diabetes. We all know that. However, I drink the sugar-free versions of these sodas, and I'm in the clear because there are no downsides to drinking sugar-free sodas. Chris, take that down. Chris, why would you put that up while I'm making the opposite point? And then there's the topic of the large amounts of caffeine that come in energy drinks, which aside from the undesirable side effects like nausea, jitters, and restlessness, can cause spikes in blood pressure, which in most extreme cases can cause your blood vessels to rip or clot. Not to mention seizures, kidney stones, and muscle breakdown. Good lord, no one told me this about caffeine. I didn't know it could be that dangerous. And also, energy drinks have been linked to disruption with the heart's wiring, and this is where I stopped doing the research, because I did not want to know what that meant, because I'm in deep at this point, and knowing that information is not going to help me. But the next part of the script is about death, so it's not getting any easier. So at least 34 deaths have been directly linked to energy drinks. 5 Hour Energy has been blamed for 22 of them, Monster for 11. Does that add up to 34? 22 plus 11? Is that 34? That would be 33, am I wrong? That's 33, that's not, okay. Maybe I got that, I probably wrote it down wrong in the script. Even Red Bull, the sweet-winged angel, has faced wrongful death lawsuits which they choose to settle out of court. It's likely that the amount of deaths associated with energy drinks are way higher than what's available in the data. And also important to note that pre-existing cardiovascular conditions can contribute to the deaths spurred on by too much caffeine. And did someone say too much caffeine? I couldn't make this video without talking about that Panera poison lemonade that they released. Do we remember that? Actually, you know what? Let's take a second to talk about all the crazy caffeine beverages that I have written down here, because some of these were just straight up negligence. So in the pantheon of dangerous drinks, Panera managed to make lemonade one of the most deadly. Congratulations, Panera. When life handed you lemons, you decided to make everyone die. Very Cave Johnson of you, sir. You took the pure Americana of the lemonade stand and through the twisted funhouse mirror of capitalism, turned it into the juice a cult leader would give his followers. First, you sell us overpriced hospital food, and you couldn't even stick the landing on the free drink that comes with the combo. A 30-ounce charged lemonade was reporting to contain 390 milligrams of caffeine. And I mean, 30 ounces sounds like a lot. It is a lot, but that's just how big a large is at Panera. They are just giving you the slop. You order a large drink and get enough liquid to bathe a small child. A 32 ounce of Monster doesn't even have that much caffeine. And here's the kicker, Panera offers unlimited refills. And like, I know it's up to us as consumers to, you know, not decide to kill ourselves, but at the end of the day, if you offer me a free refill, I'm going to drink more than 1 cup because I'm an American and I'm not going to lose money on this deal. And we can't talk about dangerous caffeinated beverages without discussing the king of death, Four Loko, of course. If you weren't around in the early 2000s, you don't fully understand what a Four Loko was at its peak. Yes, they're still around today, but they are a shadow of their former selves. They have tamed down completely. This blend of energy drink and alcohol nearly wiped millennials from the face of the earth. It seems inevitable that people would start mixing alcohol and caffeinated beverages. I mean, the vodka Red Bull first hit the scene in the early 2000s and it hasn't gone away. And Sparks, the first packaged alcohol energy drink, was available in 2002. But these were the guiding lights that inspired 3 frat brothers from Ohio State University to create Four Loko in 2005. And every single word in that sentence makes complete sense. I was not shocked about any of those words. The 4 in Four Loko comes from the 4 original ingredients: taurine, guarana, caffeine, and wormwood. Wormwood, that's kind of a rogue joker. You know, wormwood, the psychoactive substance found in absinthe. You know, the thing that makes you trip balls. The wormwood version of Four Loko, which only had 6% alcohol, was a failure because wormwood usually tastes like shit, and they made a bad calculation. So the Buckeye Bros decided to ditch the lumber, pump up the ABV, and redesign the can so it looked like it was ready to head off for war. Their wormwood-free concoction boasted 12% alcohol and was sold in 23.5-ounce cans. One Four Loko was the equivalent of drinking 4 beers, a can of Red Bull, and a shot of espresso all at once. Now you might be thinking, Tucker, that's a lot going on in one beverage, and you'd be right, but you also have to remember that college kids exist, and they make things called blackout rage gallons, so they were drinking Four Loko like it was free. Their new formula hit the shelves in 2008, and almost immediately college kids started hitting the floor. And not in like a dancing way, in a call the doctor kind of way, someone just died. Commonly referred to as liquid cocaine or blackout in a can, Four Loko was sending kids to the emergency room dozens at a time. ERs across the country were treating college kids for a near fatal level of blood alcohol. The drink fucked up college kids so badly that police initially thought people who were drunk on Four Loko had been drugged, but it seemed to be working because in 2010 an estimated 60 million cans of Four Loko were sold. And by the end of the epidemic, all told, Four Loko was blamed for suicides, people walking into traffic, fatal car accidents, and a ton of violent behavior. Hell yeah. College campuses started to ban it, and then states followed suit. And a New York politician apparently even staged a stunt where they drank 2 cans of Four Loko in an hour under doctor supervision, which just to show it was dangerous, I guess, which we all knew, my guy. I feel like this guy just wanted to get drunk on the clock, and I gotta applaud him for that. And he puked everywhere, which is hilarious. That's funny that he did that. But Four Loko became an easy thing to dunk on in popular culture, and in that way it kind of fell apart. And it's very easy to dunk on because there is literally no justification for this product. There is no reason for this thing to exist. Its whole selling point was like, hey, this shit's f***ed up. Like, that was the whole bit. The FDA got involved, sending Four Loko a warning and essentially banning alcohol energy drinks entirely. By November 2010, Four Loko voluntarily removed the caffeine from their drinks, and the company had nearly $30 million worth of Four Loko that they couldn't sell. And every kid in my generation was dying to find these. It was like finding lewds, like from Wolf of Wall Street. Like, we knew these Four Lokos were out there. We just need to get our hands on them. We just needed to get f***ed up like that. Four Loko loyalists were scrambling across their cities and snatching up the last of the original formula. Some people even held a candlelight vigil for it in Union Square in New York, while one New York City restaurant held a Four Loko night to send them off, and then the state came in and raided their shit and destroyed all their Four Loko. It was a wild time. And now we're here today. I really don't have a conclusion for this. The energy drink history is way more f***ed up than I thought it would be when I started writing this video. Well, Jimmy did a lot of the research. Put up Jimmy again. I gotta keep giving him shout outs. He's so good. But if they're not adding alcohol to energy drinks, who knows what's next? I'm sure there's gonna be a kratom taurine mix soon. And no one get an idea from that, because don't do that. But whatever comes next, one thing for sure, it's gonna be insane. New videos every Saturday and Wednesday. Like, comment, and subscribe. Shout out to the Extra Tuglets for supporting me over on extratug.com. You can go over there right now and subscribe to get, you know, a free video every, well, not free, you're paying for it, but a video every week. You get a bunch of benefits, and it's really fun over there, and I might make a video about you. I don't know. I'm just happy to be here. Shout out Chris Duffy. Shout out my mom. She's chill. Chris asked me for a photo of that so I can put it up there. There's just so many names now that, like, I have to talk for a while in order for it to whatever. I mean, like, I'm just running out of time. Anyway, I'm just gonna knock sleep because it's 7 at night and I just drank a full Monster. So everyone have a good night. Thank you.